This is a story about overcoming great odds at great peril. This is a story about courage, about humanity, about what it takes to take the world we're given and turn it into something where our children might thrive. This is a story about Watts in my hometown of Los Angeles. Watts is a community that's 2 square miles. In those 2 square miles, it's also a community that has the lowest life expectancy in LA County. Watts, in those 2 square miles, is also a place that had 100 homicides a year on average, until the story we're about to tell takes place. This is a story also of 4 Aspen Fellows, 2 Henry Crown Fellows, and 2 Finance Leaders Fellows, who supported the incredible leadership of Watts in brokering something different, in using the Aspen seminar methodology to broker a peace. Before I introduce beloved Aspen trustee, moderator, and co-founder of multiple fellowships, Chris Varelis, I will leave you with a quote from Meister Eckhart, a quote that really emphasizes so much of what we do at the Aspen Global Leadership Network. What we plant in the soil of contemplation, we shall reap in the harvest of action. Thank you.
Thank you, Dar. As Dar said, you're about to hear a beautiful story, one with many layers, each one more amazing than the one before. But to appreciate that story, you need the context. And so we're going to start with Mike, the creator. Could you please take us back to the beginning and explain how it all began?
Yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy ride. It starts with a woman here in the room, Shireen Abadi, and her husband, Mark Krunchik. They have this wonderful organization, the Healthy Room Project in Watts, and they'd invited me to come and work with them for a day. And as a result of the work we'd done together, I had the opportunity to go ride with the police at night and actually see the community of Watts through the lens of the back of a police car. And 2 things happened that were really just mind-numbing for me. One, I saw 3 people get shot. 1 person died. I was only there 3 hours. Secondly, though, and more importantly, it was the reasons why. I met a gang member, and I was talking to him. I said, "Why'd you join the gang?" We all know the reasons, right? And he says, "Well, my mom got this job, and she didn't want us to live in Section 8 housing our whole life. And the gang offered protection and daycare." And I was like, wow. I don't understand it at all. This is only 5 miles from where I live, right? It's more violent than I thought. Shame on me, but it was also for very different reasons. So I thought, how could we learn what's really going on? No desire to make a film, no desire to do anything commercial at all. And I went out and I bought 20 iPhones. And we started handing them out. We gave 5 to gang members. We gave 5 to police, prostitutes, priests, kids, parents, anybody who would take one. We asked 200 different people and eventually found 20 people who said they would do this simple task we were going to ask, which is just film your life.
And you hand out these 20 iPhones, and then the unexpected happened. What happened?
So, you're sitting there thinking, like, this could go wildly wrong, right? We all know what the expected outcome is here. They turned in 200 hours of the craziest footage you've ever seen. Mind-numbing. You were living in their home. You were walking with them to school. It was unbelievable. And I was like, wow, what are we going to do with this? And I reached in the Aspen Network, a great gentleman, Todd Lieberman, who's here. He's had 50 films come out at #1. Suzanne Malveaux, who's here in the front row, who was my classmate at Aspen. I said, guys, what do we do? And we all kind of got our heads together. And we came up with this idea where we said, what if we let them make the film themselves? We'll build the infrastructure, but they'll make the film. And so I want to tell you what that looks like. That means Bloods, Crips, cops, kids, prostitutes, and a priest are sitting in a room for a year reviewing each other's footage in deep detail. And they had to agree as to what the 90-minute film would be. Now, we all know that there's no chance that they're going to actually come to an agreement. I'm thinking this is going to be great, nothing to worry about, we'll see how this goes. But they did. And what happened was, as they had to hear each other's stories in deep detail, a sense of empathy began to unite them. Now, there was no forgiveness going on, but there was a sense of understanding and a belief that they could make it better for their kids. They didn't have to forgive each other, but they could make it better for their kids. They just had to find a way to work together. So I go, oh, no, now what do we do? They actually made the film. And we don't know anybody. We don't know anybody's going to make a, show the film or anything. And I said, what do you want to do? They said, can we go show it to the gang leaders? And I said, we can do that? These three gentlemen here, a blood, a Crip, and the #1 gang cop, spent 6 months aggregating the leaders from the 6 largest gangs, black gangs and Hispanic gangs, and we all met in a warehouse. No security. And we showed the film. And it served as a bit of a mirror. The gang leaders, who'd done 200 years in prison between them, didn't like what they saw. And they wanted it different for their kids too. They asked us, would we do more screenings for the most violent kids in their gangs, which we did 5 or 6 other screenings. Eventually, they negotiated a peace agreement between them. Now, we all have heard these peace agreements, right? It's kind of nice words, but do they work? So in the 3 years that their filming occurred, there had been 100 homicides in this 2.1 square mile area. In the 6 months following the agreement, 0.
So to give you further context, we're going to show you a 3-minute sizzle reel from the documentary. And I have to warn you, it is very violent, it has actual and real violence in the sizzle reel. But this is from the documentary that the filmmakers made. So this was their decision to create this documentary and to have this sizzle reel. This is the first time that we're showing it. I know it's unusual, but all I'll say is it worked, and after you see it, we'll hear how. So if you could show the sizzle reel.
Within LA County is Watts.
This area is home to more than 65 different gangs.
Cornelius is from Nickerson Gardens, Bounty Hunter Bloods. Tyrone's from Jordan Downs, Grape Street Crips. Those 2 housing projects have been at war for 40 years. And then to find them here at this table, how wild is this?
That's where I grew up at, right here.
Whether you're black, white, Asian, Mexican, when you come, you're gonna feel it. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
You just hear.
It is true what they say. It's a black neighborhood, no one gives a fuck. If we want it raw, it gotta be raw.
Don't sugarcoat it. This is Watts. This is what happened to us.
There's no words for a mama when her child is murdered.
You're trying to get a good night's sleep and you hear the helicopter.
We're taking huge chances for people. Questioning, right? Is it worth it?
This environment will bring the worst out of me, man, if you ain't strong.
They took my peace of mind. I can't trust nobody.
I'm not scared, I'm not shocked. I'm like, no.
We can't depend on nobody else to save Watts. If y'all want to save Watts, it starts within Watts. We Watts right here.
And we call this our silent march. Parents bring out their murdered loved one's shoes. These are little people, y'all.
I didn't have a father to show me how to be a father. He's everything. I'll make sure you know it. We could try to come up with a ceasefire.
Having everybody in that room together was kind of nerve-wracking.
My first concern was safety.
The potential for things to go sideways in that meeting was huge.
Like, we can't be in here saying we cool, you know what I'm saying, shake each other hand, whoop, and then we out in front of our homies to be.
And maybe this helps turn the knob just a little more towards less violence.
Could the area change? Could it become decent? Could these kids all see a future?
When kids play together, eat together, sleep together, they're not gonna be able to quick to kill one another.
I forgive any one of my enemies to let my kids make it and grow up here to make Watts flourish.
It's about us developing new leaders.
It's putting our lives and reputation on the line.
Y'all put something together, brother, that's gonna go all over this world, and it's gonna promote peace. And it started right here in Watts.
Hey.
Yeah, every time we watch that shit, I feel some type of way. Every time we watch it, I feel different.
So Cornelius, let's begin with you. You ran the Dream Team, the most notorious drug gang in Watts. You're arrested 20 times, went to jail 6 times, and you're approached, here, take this iPhone, share your story. Why did you do it?
Make sure you tell them you got away 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that definitely got me. Yeah, I was arrested over 20 times, been incarcerated over 6. Yeah, Dream Team was my organization. We ran, sold drugs and everything like that back in the day. But once when Mike presented me with an iPhone and told me to just tell my story, my truth, I said, okay. But it was kind of hard in the beginning. Like, I turned in 0 footage, like the first time he wanted, when he asked for the footage back. But once he just told me to just tell my story and, if that's the truth and this is what you want and you want it to change, just go for it. And it was easy after that. It was just me just letting everything know, as far as like I want the kids to have a safer path and make better decisions in life. And I felt like I could be the one to do that and tell them that because I already did that for them. You know what I'm saying? So I could just present this, my footage and my story and go from there.
Thank you. Tim, you're the #1 drug cop in LA. You policed the Crips for 20 years. And in that process, your wife gets shot and paralyzed.
Yeah, I got into this for a couple reasons. I was a gang cop down there in Watts. Last thing on earth I ever thought I would do, but it ended up being a good fit. Mark, who was mentioned earlier, knew Mike. I didn't know Mike. And he told me this idea about passing these phones out. And I thought, that guy needs security. There's no way. So I get involved in it. But my story became part of it because I had Christina Rapati was my partner in patrol. And we went to the gang unit together up in the Crenshaw district. And we became fast friends, ultimately ended up getting married. And she was a phenomenal cop. Top 5% of the department, male or female. She was unique. She stayed in the Crenshaw district. I went to Watts. I got into the Watts gang unit. And one night she chased a guy, took off running. She chased him, and she caught him on a porch before he got into a house. She grabbed him, and he spun and stuffed a pistol up under her armpit, shot her above the vest. A bullet went through, hit her in the spinal cord. She dropped, paralyzed, and the guy shot her 3 more times trying to execute her. And luckily, her partner was shooting at him at the same time and killed him before he could kill her. I was working that night. I got there. I helped triage her on the porch. And she's paralyzed from the nipple line down. And one of the pieces why, like when I'm working in Watts and working gangs, I lived in Redondo Beach, not far from Mike, 6 miles away. And people in my community had no clue the polar opposite world that was going on over there. And I felt it was my duty to teach people, like, hey, this is bad. These people need help. And so I was always doing that. And when this project came up, I thought, what a great way, because the news is usually reporting on Watts, and the movies are doing their thing, but they're both super filtered or have an agenda. And this, when I started seeing the film coming out from the people who joined in, it was like a conduit of truth coming right down the middle. And I thought, this is unique. This is cool. And this needs to happen. And it kept me engaged in it. So, in other pieces, I just want people to know, cops are like me, right? We're good people trying to do good things, and that kind of gets lost sometimes. So I thought this was a way to share that.
Thank you. Tyrone, your mother was killed when you were very young. You're shot at the prime of your career, ended it. You now have a son, 4.0 GPA, on the verge of what will hopefully be an NBA career.
Right, baby.
Why did you do it?
First of all, my name is Tyrone Riley. My mom was shot and killed in the same projects that I grew up in. And I was held to a higher standard by my granny. I had brothers and sisters. And she, it was a unique thing that she did. She told them that they had to graduate from high school, but I was mandatory to graduate from college. So I did it for her. And I did this with Mike because, like me, I went to the University of San Francisco. I graduated. Jersey retired there. Hall of Fame there. Played overseas 7 years. And you don't even get the recognition coming from Watts about that. So I'm here to do the movie and video and help Mike so we can get the recognition on the younger kids, and because there's some more people around there in Watts that's doing the same thing. So that's why I joined the video and the film.
And Celeste, you're a student in Watts. You have to wake up every day at 5 a.m. and have 3 outfits just to survive. The code switch, a term I'd never even heard until I had met you. Yes. Why did you do it?
Yeah, as we heard in the beginning, Watts has the lowest life expectancy. So just as Tyrone mentioned, I had 2 parents who college was, that has to be where you need to be. No exceptions. And, looking at my surroundings, you have people being shot. You have gang members who hate each other. So what does that look like for a college student like myself who wants to be someone bigger in this world, but I don't have an example to abide by? And just like Chris mentioned, I went to a high school 30 minutes outside of Watts, and I had to get up at 5 a.m. every morning. Had my dad drive me off into the station, and, when it was hot out, I vividly remember having to fully dress in like pants and tights, and my mom would be like, "What's going on? Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Mom, I have to keep my head down. I don't want to be approached." And I've been approached a couple times. There was an incident where I was on the bus and a man tried to sniff me, and to not have an example to go by, to have people who are supposed to hate each other. And I mean, how amazing it is that we have all of us here on this panel. We're not supposed to be allies. We're supposed to hate each other. We're not supposed to be friends. We have one thing in common, but it brought us together. And I think being on this panel has shown, and you can do it too, that it starts by peace. It starts by laying out your responsibilities. Hey, this is what I did. And guess what? I want to leave that in the past. It starts with change. I mean, we saw in that room who was in that room. I mean, I was scared. I went in there. They told me, "Hey, we're going to have a meeting." I sat down, and I was like, "Oh, they're coming in. Oh, they're coming in." I was like, I've seen these people shoot each other on the streets, and we want to have them in a room? The size was less than this. We were inches away from each other, and I kept looking over. I said, "Where's the exit? Where's the exit?" Okay, got it. Yep. But to be here on stage and to be an example, I'm a first-generation college student. Both parents only spoke Spanish, so it's amazing.
All right, to Celeste, your point, a lot of rules were broken, a lot of risks were taken. Let's talk about those rules, those risks. Tim, why don't we start with you?
Sure. So LAPD would never have approved this concept, right? So we had to, ask for forgiveness. It was the plan, and we didn't even know what we were creating. It was like layers that just kept building on top of each other, and I would go down there and pass out phones and collect phones. and escort Mike down there. And you know, I'd have to call my buddies who were on patrol at the time and say, hey, we're going to be at this block. Can you be in the area? And the only thing I had was a pistol and plain clothes, and I'm a retired cop, and I just know the area, and I thought I had a better chance of, like, if something was starting to go sideways, I could get us out of there. It's not like I could do much more than that. But so we had to keep it kind of secret, and then as it grew, we needed stats and video and body camera and all that kind of stuff. And I went and I leveraged all my relationships, and I had a really good reputation, so I was taking a huge chance, and I was taking even a bigger chance with LAPD's reputation and my buddies' careers. So, yeah, we had to break a lot of rules, but I was fascinated. The guys I pitched it to at work, they were really behind this. They want the truth to come out. They want people to see how it really is. And they liked that we were saying it from our own perspectives. And that actually really surprised me.
Cornelius, Tyrone?
Yeah, so we definitely broke a lot of rules. For me and Tyrone, yeah, especially being, well, you know, in former gang members or whatever, but it wasn't hard, but it was hard. We had, like you said, we had to keep, when he had to come pick up the film footage, it had to be secretive, you know, we gotta meet me over here and all that type of stuff. But yeah, rules was broken, and
well, the biggest rule, I believe, is because our neighborhood right now, we still in war right now. We still in war, and me and him still taking a chance, and we bringing everybody together. Yeah. So we take heat for being with each other sometimes too right now, but yeah, it's for the bigger cause. So that's one of the biggest heats. And dealing with him, me, especially with me, he was the one chasing me around.
Right.
So I was responsible, my main gang that I was responsible for all the intel was the Grape Street Crips and the Jordan Downs housing projects in Watts. And just a quarter-mile away is the Nickerson's, yeah. Right? There's a Bounty Hunter Blood gang. And these two housing projects have been entrenched in gang warfare for 50 years. And, you know, it pops off, comes up, goes down, but these guys are taking massive chances, hanging out with each other, and getting up here with a cop.
Definitely with
right?
the police.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest one, really. But, I mean, hey.
Yeah. Agreed. and then we all had to, like, break down these, you know, we had to build these these layers of trust with each other over time. I mean, all of us were looking at each other suspect for the first year. You know, and I thought I was going to get played. You know, we didn't know if we were going to get set up. They didn't know if they were going to get set up. And when they brought the gang leaders together, that amplified tenfold.
So then you're all, as Celeste mentioned, you're all put in a room together. You're like, all right, you've been recording your stories. Now you're going to share your stories. So multiple times you're put in an Aspen circle and you're said, share with one another. And you're now the filmmakers. Create the documentary that you want to create. And I just want you to share what happened in that. In Aspen, we talk about the magic that happens in the room. This is real magic. Right? This isn't intellectual heart magic, which is beautiful. This is magic. So share what happened in that room.
In our first editing session, I was able to see one of the other directors, Nisi, her story. And it kind of touched me because it happened in my projects, like it happened in my hood. And we hold like a better standard. As I know it's not no real standard or anything, but as like gangsters and gang members and everything, like women and children are like supposed to be off limits. Like, and this generation is so lost, they don't abide by none of those type of rules. So when I seen Nisi's story, it kind of touched me, like, and like, you know, because they're my little homies, like, I actually knew who did it and all that type shit. So, but I would have took care of it if I would have knew, but I didn't. So it kind of touched me, and then it was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely something that need to be done. Like, get this out, get this message out, like, just like off limits, like type stuff like that. It was hard for me for that.
Not to spoil the movie, but it's a really powerful moment where Nisi is beaten by some of my little homies. And she's left with her two children homeless.
With her kids in the car, everything. Yeah. It's just like unacceptable.
And she realizes, I mean, this is a great one. She realizes that you're in the room and she leaves. And you're always, these people, extremely humble. I mean, you left, share what happened.
Yeah, well, I was really hurt, because we didn't grow up like that. Like that was like off limits. We wasn't harming civilians and kids and everything like that. So when I seen that, it was just, it hurt me. So when she left, I just went over there and apologized to her though, let her know man, that's my bad. Even though it wasn't me, I'm kind of responsible for that because this is the life I live, and them my little homies. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get that better. I just told her she good now, anytime, she good.
That really was the magic. When we all sat in a room together, you had students who've been trying to avoid gang members their whole lives. They'd look down the street to see if they're hanging out, and they go down the other street just to get to school. Every family's had a victim in their family, so she's sitting next to these gangsters. Tyrone ends up sitting next to Sean. Sean was a great kid. I think he had 8 college. He had his choice of Ivy League schools. He was a fantastic kid. Black guy that's living down in the harbor. He goes up there to sell a Game Boy to somebody, and 2 Grape Streeters run up on him, shoot him, leave him for dead. And that's from his hood. And they're sitting next to each other, looking at each other's stories, and all of a sudden the empathy just comes out. You could cut it with a knife. It was the most impressive meeting I've ever seen in my entire life. It was undeniable. And that's the way this project was. It just kept stacking on each other, just kept proving itself and getting better and better and better.
Tyrone, what was it like being in that room?
It was amazing. For the first time, you can see, especially with me. Well, we had F-13s in there, and we had the Hispanics in there, and we didn't have no Hispanic gangbanger to even contact with them, and for them to show up, that was amazing. And just to see everybody's story, and back on what he said with the kid, I knew about the story, but I didn't know about him, because when you go and watch, you hear everything that's going on. So I heard about the story, but I didn't know. But when I seen it, and I was just shocked, because he made a big difference and changed. And he told me, because I was trying to apologize. He was like, "Don't do that, because that wasn't you," and it made me better. So I was just like, man, it touched me on that first meeting.
Celeste.
For me, it was, I think back to when you learn in history, Gandhi did this, and all these important historical figures who changed the world. Being in that room, I knew that I was going to change the world. I knew that being surrounded, although we were all meant to hate each other, it was, mind you, there was no security tapping anybody down to see if anyone had guns. It was nothing fancy like that. You walked in, you saw your name, you sat down, started a conversation. So I think it was surreal for me to see people who are trained, generationally trained to hate each other, are coming into this room to fight for change because they care. They care for the next generation. They don't want any of us, individuals like me, to fall into the next line. That life is easy for me. It's right in front of me. It's handed to me, and to be there, to be a part of wanting to change. Was I scared? Yes. Did we have code words? Yes. Okay, if I say this, you gunning for it, you're leaving. But to be a part of that, I think it shows the willingness, and this is not in any media. When have you seen, hey, the top gang leaders are all in a room together and they're trying to talk how to create peace in the neighborhoods? I think it was a very surreal moment, and I am so grateful that I was able to voice my opinion and take care of any other college students who were just like me, who had big dreams like me. And I think it made me realize that no matter how young I am, my voice is also powerful. And it was a surreal moment, and I'm very blessed to have relationships with these guys and to continue on with the project and create movements.
Great. So then you collectively decide, you've made this documentary, and you say, we're going to have a viewing. We're going to show this to all the gang leaders of Watts. How did you make that happen?
Oh, that was hard. That was hard, right? That was the hardest part. Because, you know, we said, we got with Mike and we said we're going to pick five people.
Yeah, 5. I'm going to bring 5. You bring 5.
And then we have another project that's from the Imperial Courts. Wasn't on the panel. So we had to
actually get them
involved. Like they didn't know what was going on. So we told them about the movie and they came. But the crazy part is when they showed up in the parking lot, they didn't want to show up. They didn't want to come in because of him. And the other officer was in there. They was like, no, we not going, man. We not going in there because we might think they going to come in there and arrest us all.
Yeah, they really thought they might go to jail for just meeting. So, but we got them in there, and it went good. We spoke to them. We told them what we was doing and what we was trying to do, and the change that we wanted, and we needed them to, we needed their help to do it, like, cause they the ones that's out, and still active and everything like that. So it would have to start with them, like, and they was with it. They was there.
So between that meeting, we have a program like Summer Not Life for the summer for the kids, and we wanted to start with the summer, with the kids to be able to walk home safe. So with all of us in that meeting, we made an agreement that it's gonna be peace, ceasefire for the summer, and it been ceasefire.
That was last summer too.
It been ceasefire since then. So now when we get back,
that was last summer.
So now when we get back, we Mike and I, we're gonna have a meeting again with them same guys and talk about the same thing for the summer, because we need the same summer to be safe for our kids. Yeah. So that's what we got out the meeting. But they were shocked about the movie because they got to see it, and at first because we had a bad documentary came out about Watts that nobody didn't want to do it. So everybody seen this video and was like, the ones that we asked to do it, they seen the video. It's like, wow, if I'd have knew it was like this, I'd have went in and did the video. But they had a bad experience about seeing the last video that was told about Watts, the last documentary. This documentary is unique, it's different, and it's special.
It's always the same story. Anything that's published about Watts, it's always violent people versus violent cops. It's nothing but dangerous, and it is a very dangerous place, but there are a lot of really good people that live there. And what I was shocked about is that once the neighborhood started, because there was a lot of pushback, because they thought that it was going to be the same narrative. But once they started seeing where it was going, man, they piled on, because they're dying for a story to be told about the resilience of the people in the neighborhood. About the positive things that are going on there, about the good people that are there. There's this Watts pride. There's pride in, we're tough because we endure this. We live in this. But there's this other kind of pride. There's a strong community there. And they really wanted that. That's what I sensed. Yeah. They really wanted that to be told, and everybody just started piling on. And like I said, this thing the layers kept growing, stacking up, and getting better and better and better.
I would add the one thing, I thought the project was dead that day.
Yeah.
One of the things that they were adamant about is in the past there have been treaties between the Bloods and the Crips. Yeah. But the cops in the community were not part of it. What was going to make this difference was the victims were there, the school teachers were there, and the police were there. And these guys had to advocate to go into the room with the same police officers that had been chasing them, arresting them, putting their kids in jail. And they didn't want to come in. And these guys had to go out and convince them it would be okay.
And then the astounding happens. Homicides drop by 90%. All violent crime drops dramatically.
Yeah,
What drove it?
I mean, I would say us and our initiative on the change too, but it was just like everybody's just falling in. Like, you know, I'm on the streets all the time, so I see it. I know, like, there's not no shootings going on. Like, I hear it, and when I heard the 90%, I said, okay, that's about right, because I'm not responding to nothing, because my job is on a day-to-day basis. I do intervention. So, like, if a shooting or anything happened, we try to eliminate the retaliation. So, because that's like the most deaths happen, like the retaliation. So the initial shooting is, they may not shoot nobody or nobody may not die, but the retaliation is where somebody for sure gets shot or dead or anything like that. So that's what that's what I do on a day-to-day basis, and that's part of the percentage and stuff going down too, like, you know.
Well, it's a lot of help going on in Watts. It's programs, safe passage programs now. We got everybody from his project, from every project on corners for the kids to go to school, for the kids to walk home from school. So I believe that coming in as a community, as a whole in Watts, that helped. And it helped me too as a basketball coach. I'm the head coach in the school in Watts. And now I'm able to get I have all the kids from each project there. That never happened.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we never was able to go to Jordan.
Yeah, so they weren't able to come
so.
to the school. So now that the violence is down, I'm able to walk in to go in his projects with him and talk to the parents and tell them to come. And it's helping us. We real good. And my GPA average with our team is a 3.8 GPA average.
About the teaching the mothers to manage.
Yeah, that's a bigger part of it too. Like, so I feel like the documentary and me speaking in there, it's a few pointers on for the mothers to like help too at home, because it's like if you can stop your son, or you can find the gun, or if you can find the stuff or whatever, you can take it from him, and, you know, and stop him or stop the problem from happening or the incident or anything like that. But yeah,
showing all the hiding places, like this is where your son is going to hide their gun.
Like it may be
look here.
And, it may be under the mattress. It may be in the drawer. You got to take the drawer out. It's a lot of places that.
One of the things that struck me too, that I was just shocked by, was you're stopping the retaliations, which is a huge chunk of it, and you're working with everybody to inform them. But the gangs made a choice to say that certain crimes were no longer acceptable.
Yeah.
And rather than protect your own, if somebody did like what was done to Nisi,
yeah, well, I'll take care of that.
You would turn them in.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
And so there became this change in behavior where you were going to work with the police on certain crimes. And there was a woman who was shot and taken hostage 3 days, last week.
Recently, yeah, right before we got here, actually. And the officer I deal with, he reached out to me, and he asked for my help. And I wasn't able to help him, but if I would have knew, if he would have, because it was, to make a long story short, it was a different person that he sent, and I actually knew the person that did the crime, I would have been able to take him right to him, you know, because kidnapping and stuff like that, like that's just out of like the Nisi, the robberies and all that. Like, it's just unacceptable. So I would have been able to help him with that, like as far as the kidnapping part. Like,
one thing that a lot of people assume that cops and gangsters don't have relationships, and actually as a good gang cop, your job is to get to know these guys. You stop them, you pat them down, make sure they're not armed, and once you can have control of that, you're talking to them. You're getting to know their tattoos, who they hang out with, what car they drive, if they're on probation, parole, that kind of stuff. You're like a database for the gang members down there. So if they commit a crime in another city, You know, you have some clues for those detectives. So you end up talking to these guys all the time. And
no way.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
On a different level, but
hey, he's nice right now, man. Boy, Jesus, you changed. I like that though, man. I like that.
Okay, last question for the group. How has this project changed you? How has it changed the way you look at the world? How are you different now than you were 3-4 years ago?
One of the things it changed me because I want to give our kids something to dream about. And coming from Watts, they don't have nothing to dream about. All they hear is gunshots and police sirens and helicopters. So this movie, us coming together and bringing positive to Watts and bringing the light on Watts, I think that's what basically changed me, because I poured my life coming back to Watts. I could have went back. I played overseas. I could have took my kids away, but I wanted to let my son see what I went through, and it made it better for him. Right now, like you say, he's a 4.0 student. He go to the same school I went to, University of San Francisco. He's holding down a legacy, and he will be a first-round pick next year.
That's right, my boy. That's right, my boy. Yeah. Yeah, it changed me drastically. I mean, I've been out of the game already for a while, but to be given this opportunity to speak my truth or tell my story and to let everybody know in the world that I want to change in my city. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want the city to be safe for the kids and even for my homies' kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Most of them gone or in jail. I'm like the only one left in I am the only one left in my crew. Like, you know what I'm saying? I lost my homie, my best friend, part of my team.
To us.
To his homies. Like,
yeah.
Like our beef,
really
our real
started.
beef to this day. Because it was, you know, it simmered down back in the day, but it started back up because of my homie. His homies killed my homie, and my homie was like a reputable, so it just fired it all back up. But given this opportunity, it changed me a lot to just put it out there so our little homies and none know me. You know what I'm saying? Do none like we just got to get it out there, bro. Like for the youth. And if they see us, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, I mean.
Because we've been posting, like, we brothers all down here all the time.
Yeah.
And we've been posting it, and they got to see it. They got to see us together right here in Denver. And it's serious. We trying to make change. So every day, we've been sticking together like brothers down here.
Yeah. So.
In Aspen.
Oh, yeah, Aspen. In Aspen. That's for sure. Yeah.
My bad.
Tim or Celeste?
I think for me personally, well, I don't think I know. Right. For me personally, I think it has fueled my hunger to be more successful, and it's changed my perspective on what success is. I think I grew up thinking that success meant money, success meant fame, success meant mansions and traveling, but I think I switched my narrative to success is who you meet, the relationships that you build. Success is creating myself an example for those who cannot. Even though I may step into a space for the first time where I don't see anyone who looks like me, I think it's important for the kids, especially in Watts, to say, hey, I can be there too. And for me to be a spokesperson as well, I think I had to navigate a lot of situations myself, find out, hey, who do I contact? What are my resources? And I think if I can create that bridge, if I can have students come up to me, say, what did you do? How did you get there? Can you help me? Even if it's as small as writing an essay, I think I would have never been given the confidence to come up here and speak to all of you guys today. I wouldn't have even known that I have this skill. Once I started, I could feel my heart rate racing, but then now it's like completely mellow. And I think I need to explore that further and see what else I can achieve. But It's definitely giving me the confidence to move forward and to be an avenue. And like Tyrone said, I think just going back and making a difference. And Watts didn't scare me, it fueled me. It scared me at once where it took me down into the corner, but now I want to create change and really be that advocate in the city. And this is one step towards that.
Yes, sir.
And I'd love to have a little shout out for you too. She just completed your internship at Mass General.
Tim, anything you want to add?
Sure. It really, I thought I was a super understanding guy, and it really does put a mirror in front of you. And I realized like these barriers, right, and all this lack of trust. Look, you have to have that to survive in the streets. But there are times when, and it showed us that we could do this, and where we could trust each other, you know, in increments. And it's really been a great experience. And like these guys are showing their neighborhoods that it's possible. They're posting with each other, but they're also posting with a white cop, you know. and it's showing the cops at home like, hey, like these guys do have relationships with people in the street, but it's capped. And I think it's showing them, hey, you know, we're kind of like pathfinders, and showing them that they can trust a little more in the right circumstances. So yeah, it was just eye-opening. People were more human than we expect, I think. And I really saw that. In one of those meetings, when the gangsters all came in, they were just looking at me with that disdain, that pure hate. I'm used to it. I had that for years. You understand. It's understandable. And then when they left, after seeing our stories, they saw me as a human. One of them even said, man, I didn't know like cops. I didn't know anything about cops other than they were cops, you know, trying to mess with me. I didn't think they had a life. I didn't see it from their perspective. But the look in their eyes was different. They were shaking my hand as they were walking out, and I was caught off guard because they were looking at, you know, man to man. Like it was wild.
Different.
Yeah, but really good.
So Mike, where are we now? Where are we with the movie? Like, this is the first time you've seen the trailer ever. This is the first time we've done anything like this. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, I mean, right, so you handed out some iPhones and we ended up with this. Is this group incredible or what? You know, there's obviously we have some great developments with the help of you know, the Aspen Institute. We've connected with Todd Lieberman and Suzanne Malveaux, and then we were able to add somebody super critical to our team, Styx, who's here in the front row. He is I used to say like the hottest producer, the music. He's the best human in LA.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what he did. He told me no for 2 years. For 2 years, he tried to kill our project. And when he saw the film, I'm speaking for you, but he literally was like, what can I do to help? And I'll tell you what he's done. We never imagined we'd even have a film, right? He says, I've got a soundtrack I've put together for you. And he sends me the names, all names that we know. 86 Grammy nominations amongst the list of artists. And it has completely altered how we think of this and how we think the world might hear this story. So you're hearing it for the first time, but we're going to actually take the team of, well, we have expertise now with Aspen in film, in news, in music, okay? And that team, they've done all this work for free, okay? And we're going to do the best we can to have the biggest blowout. We're going to make the biggest dent in the universe we can sometime this fall in a way nobody has seen, to make sure Watts is looked at completely differently going forward. And I might add, we've been contacted by so many other cities who are starting to see things. It would please us to death if 50 cities ripped off this model and made it 10 times better. So if we could have a 90% decline in homicides in 1 year without a single dollar of public spending, without a single building being built, just people convening, sharing their stories, raw and honest, right? We hope that we can find a way to scale, not just this project, but scale this as far as it can go, because we've modeled it after the Aspen model, and it's really, really worked. It's worked. So that's what we're going to try and do.
Like a sticks.
Yeah, you did it.
Good job, bud.
It's done.
It's big money.
Thank you.
Well, we hit 0. We apologize, can't take questions. There's just so many layers to get through. We wanted them to speak their story. Thank you for taking this spot to hear this story. Thank you for being, you were the first to hear it. You were the first to see it. Thank you for going on this journey with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank y'all.